I am the perfect example of it takes a village to raise a board director. I retired from the Department of Defense in June of 2020 after 35 years, covering everything from cyber to IT. I was the CISO for the Department of Defense for a while before becoming the acting CIO. So when I retired, I had no clue or no plans to do much of anything other than travel. But a couple of industry mentors suggested I consider a board journey. Where do I start? Had no idea. And oh, did I mention I was very anti-LinkedIn while I was in the department for obvious security reasons. And trolling LinkedIn, ironically, one night I came across the How Women Lead Board Readiness Program. And therein lies the beginning of my journey. Once I got serious, I realized all the resources that I needed came from the board readiness. Adriana Azuri to help me with all of my documents. Nancy Shepard helped me with coaching to wrap my mind around interviewing for a board is very different than interviewing for a job. All of those nuances and the stories from Joyce Cacho and some of the others all played into how I shaped my journey. And did I mention I'm a very strong introvert? So it's really hard for me to talk about myself, write about myself, all of those things. I am a bookcase introvert. But once I shifted my mindset, and my first interview opportunity, ironically, came through a random LinkedIn from an executive search firm. And I had several interviews, but I realized at some point I wasn't approaching them correctly. And this is where Nancy helped me. I was interviewing them just as much as they were interviewing me because it was about a fit. And I had to find the right one that worked for me. And the normal process was back and forth in several iterations with several companies. But the right one hit, just a couple months ago. When I get a call from a recruiter, let me back up. Friday of a week, I get a call from a recruiter with the bad news that I wasn't selected for a board that I really, really wanted. On Monday morning, I get an email from a recruiter in the same company saying, hey, I have an opportunity I want you to consider. And it was in real estate. Guys, I grew up in IT and cyber. I knew absolutely nothing about real estate. But I said, okay. It was less than 30 days after interviewing with the NomGov, and I get a phone call inviting me to join the board. I had orientation this week, so I've been in and out of the sessions. But everything I learned with How Women Lead. And to go back to the creed and everything they say up front, this whole thing about saying yes and advocacy, it's real. So excuse me as I get a little emotional. So I have to thank the team here because it really did take the board, the How Women Lead board and group to raise this director. So my orientation was this week and my first board meeting is in a couple of weeks. So I encourage all the ladies that are on your journey, take everything you've learned this week and roll with it.